See me okay? I have not gone live in forever. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm actually looking at my other screen. I'll give you all time to get in. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to turn on all my lights. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope that, let me see. This is going to turn. No, it's not. Sorry about that, guys. I have not done a live in a very long time, and I'm trying to check all my screens to see if it is working. Hello, everyone who is watching. Definitely feel free to live chat me. I'm going to try to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. Again, you guys have to bear with me. I have not done a live in so freaking long. And I'm doing it on my phone, and then I have my regular computer here. So we'll see how this goes. I'm hoping that going forward, I can do more lives because I really enjoy live video. Clearly, I love to speak, but I love doing the live videos and want to do more of them. I usually do pre-recorded and edited videos, and they look way better. But I think I'm going to start incorporating every now and again some live videos because sometimes I'll get an idea and I'm like, I would love to share that on YouTube, but that's not what I'm talking about on my pre-recorded video for this upcoming week. So maybe I'll throw in some lives, but you all feel free to let me know if you want me to do more live videos. And if so, what topics would you want to listen to? I love to get more information from you all to tell me like what type of live videos you like to see. So I'm going to give you everybody a minute to jump in. Definitely put your name in the live chat. Let me know where you're looking from. Even if you're watching this later, definitely let me know who you are, where you're watching this from. I love all my subscribers. I'm so thankful to have this YouTube channel and just to be able to reach so many people, especially a lot of women who have gone through a divorce. So guys, stay there. I'm going to check on my homepage to see how I'm looking. Let's see. I'm looking, guys. I'm looking. I'm going to put myself on mute. Okay, so we're going to see if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll see. Hopefully you all out there can see me. But welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm super excited to have you all watching. Have not done a live in a very long time, so I hope this works. But I wanted to get on here and talk about divorce and talk about how divorce can be a gift. As you all know, I'm Tiffiny Fambro of Clarity, Confidence, Courage, and my focus is helping women who have gone through a divorce create a brand new, beautiful life and really recreate their life after divorce. Just because you lived a life before your divorce, trust me, when you go through a marriage, a very tumultuous marriage, it changes you. You become a different person. I think marriage changes you anyway, which is a good thing. I mean, we're not always meant to stay the same. But especially when you go through a very difficult marriage, it can change you sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. Guys, hold on. I just want to make sure that I'm able to see everyone on my channel. Give me 1 second. So hopefully it'll show up. There we go. It's actually showing up. Okay. Oh, it's showing up weird. Okay, let me change this. I thought it was going to show up fine, but it showed up weird. So let me change it again. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. Again, have not done a live in a very, very long time. So we'll see. It looks like that's better, although it's weird looking. But okay, we're gonna roll with it. Next time, I know. Next time, I will do this on a computer and it will probably look much better. So anyway, we're gonna go with it. So I was talking about divorce and how divorce can change you, right? Marriage can change you anyway. But what I want to talk about in this video is how divorce can be seen as a gift. We're coming up on Christmas. It's December. A lot of people who have gone through a divorce, before or during this time, especially after the quarantine and everything that happened, it was a lot of people that were getting divorced. It's like, oh, as soon as this quarantine is over, I'm out of this. And for a lot of women that have gone through a divorce, I was talking to a woman the other night about her divorce. And she was pretty angry and fairly, I would say, bitter. She was just like, yeah, and, he had a whole nother life and da da da. Da. And it was, she was still, even though they have been divorced for a while, still talking about the divorce in such a negative way. And don't get me wrong, I get the concept of divorce is splitting up your life, splitting up the family, losing someone that you once loved. And there's a lot of different reasons for divorce, right? So I know there's a lot of negative aspects, but let me tell you, from my perspective, it's all about how you look at the situation. Now, sometimes it's hard to see the good things when you're going through because you're surrounded by all the negativity. But when you're able to come out of your divorce, I've been divorced now 6 years, going next year in April will be 7 years. And when I say my divorce opened me up to some of the greatest gifts that I could have given myself. And I'm going to explain what that means. It was very difficult to go through a divorce. But once I went through my divorce, once I went through all the hardships of my marriage and then got to a point where I was like, I literally cannot take this anymore. I'm scared. I'm afraid of him. I cannot live like this anymore. Once I was able to step outside of that, get therapy and start getting, my life back together and my life on track, especially now, I'm able to look back and see like, wow, that was me. That was me in that marriage with that person. And this is me now. And I'm a completely different person. My divorce, the reason I see it as a gift now is because my divorce forced me into a corner, figuratively, right? It forced me into a corner where I had to get very, very, very raw and emotional about my life and what it is that I wanted. And see, when I was in my marriage, there was a point where things were getting bad, where I just kind of like detached. I was just like, okay, this is not working, but we got married and I took the vows and I'm just going to stick it out. I'm going to stay through it. Even though we didn't have children, I was like, well, I'm just going to stick it out, right? So I stayed in a situation that I wasn't happy in to, make it work. And we did try to make it work. We went to therapy. We did marriage counseling, the whole thing, and it just was not working. And it got to a point where things start to blow up, and he became violent with me, and I was like, okay, this is where I'm out. But I figuratively got pushed to that point where I got scared, and I was like, what is happening? I was doing all the right things. I listened to my family. I found someone that I fell in love with and we get along and we're going to support each other and I'm going to be this great wife and all these things. And I did what I thought was right and it still didn't work out. And so when I got to that point where I was contemplating like, I've got to get out of this. My life is in danger. I feel unsafe. I started thinking about like, other than getting out of this, what else? And once I was able to get safe, once I was able to physically feel safe, that's when I started asking myself the questions like, how did I get here? How did I find myself in this situation? Because I followed all the quote unquote rules. How did I get into this circumstance? And asking myself that question led me to open myself up to the answers. The answers from that question was the gift. And the journey getting from that question to the answers was the gift. Because what happened, I got forced to go to therapy. I was like, something is not right with me. This is deeper than just him and that situation. For me to be in a situation with someone where I allowed some things to happen that logically I would have never allowed, really. I'm like, how did I allow that? And you don't know when you're in it because you're in it and you're going through it. But when you step outside of yourself and you're like, what was I thinking? I asked myself, what was I going through emotionally, put myself in that situation? So that led me to go to therapy. And I found an amazing therapist at that time. And it opened me up to so much more of a deeper understanding of myself and things that were inside of me that had nothing to do with my marriage. The person that I was, the type of person that I was that attracted that person to begin with, that was okay with certain behaviors that he had way before we got married. I was okay with it. It led me to then question where did all that come from? So let's go back, going through the tumultuous marriage, put me in a situation where I felt unsafe, which put me in a situation where I realized I need to get a divorce, which put me in a situation where I found myself trying to figure out how to get physically safe, which pushed me to then figure out how to work through all those emotions, which pushed me to therapy. Okay. So it was a lot of bridges of incidents, right? That put me in a situation where I had to go to therapy, right? I had to go to therapy for myself, not just for the marriage, but for myself. And when I was able to get to my therapist, it was like doors start to open. She started to ask me questions about my childhood and how I grew up and the environment I was raised in and what I saw and the types of personalities I was around and the people I was around. And it just opened up so many aha moments for me. And I was like, oh, got it. This isn't just about my marriage. This is about me growing up in a cycle of trauma. And that trauma led me to recreate that same trauma in my adulthood, in my marriage. And it was in a lot of my relationships. It wasn't just my marriage, but that was the big one, right? And so when I was able to get that aha moment, it was like a light bulb came on. And I was like, whoa, what have I been doing? But see, you don't know that when you're in a circumstance, especially when it comes to relationships. But here's the amazing thing about relationships. And again, this all took years, ladies, for me to figure all this out. Relationships with other human beings truly are there to help you heal. And some people may not understand that, or they may disagree. But in reality, every relationship that you have in your life, every person that you meet, that you interact with, is truly a part of you pushed out. And I remember hearing that, and I've read so many gurus and teachers, and I can't remember exactly who said it. It might have been Neville Goddard, but the idea is that people that you interact with, the reason that you're interacting with them, it's something in them that you're either attracted to or that you feel comfortable with, because somewhere in your brain, you've normalized certain types of behaviors. So this is psychology, and on a deeper level, it's really about you digging into yourself. So when you look at relationships from that perspective, it's kind of interesting because it's like, why am I friends with this person? It starts to make you look at your whole life differently, because you're like, if every person that I meet, as far as interacting with, not just the barista at Starbucks, but every person that's actually in my life is in my life because they are part of me pushed out. They're a reflection of my beliefs, my values. What does that say about me? So when I start looking at my ex-husband from that perspective, that he was really a reflection, like a mirror image of something inside of me pushed out. See, I would have never allowed him in my life if I was not attracted to a certain behavior that he displayed. And when I say attracted, I don't mean like in a romantic way. I just mean a certain level of attraction, like a magnet, like something magnetic about him brought me to him and made me want to engage with him even more. And it was hard to put all the pieces together when I was in it. But when I stepped back and I was out of it and I was able to reflect with my therapist, I was able to see that. And so the reason I say divorce can be a gift is because when you go through divorce and you go through that transition and you really take the time to ask yourself the question, why did I go through that? How did I get to this point? Why is my life falling apart? What is happening to me? And you allow someone who is a trained therapist or a psychologist to come in and help you through that, help you walk through those questions for yourself safely. It gives you an opportunity to reflect. And it gives you the opportunity to step deep into a level of self-awareness. And when I say deep, I mean like gut deep, right? Not just brain deep, not just mentally deep. I mean in your gut deep. And it helps you get to the root of who you are. Because everything that happens in your life is about you. It's not about your boss being a jerk. It's not about your ex-husband did this. It's not about your mom never, neglected you, or you were abandoned by your father. Those are all terrible things. But here's the thing. You are the common denominator, period. And the question is, are you going to learn from those situations and those circumstances, or are you going to allow them to make you a victim? Are you going to allow them to tear you down and keep you down? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. Going through this process, I went through so many different levels, y'all. I was angry, I was sad, I was the victim, I was upset, I was happy, I was all over the place. But when I finally got to a place of peace was when I was able to look at my ex-husband and say, I wish you well. And I meant it. Like, I wish you best. I wish that you have a great life. I hope you have a great life. That is a place of peace. After you get a divorce, after you've made that reflection of yourself, and after you've come to the understanding that you, that person, whoever you were with, was really there to teach you about you. Now, I know some of you may not want to hear this. I get it. But it's the truth. Because they wouldn't have come into your life if you hadn't allowed them. You gave them entry. I think about it whenever you see vampire movies, and the vampire always says, or the vampire fighter says, the vampires can't come into your house unless you give them permission. They can't cross the threshold of your house. It's against the rules, and they can't get in unless you give them permission. What they're saying is the reason the vampire can get in your house because at some point in your interaction with them in normal life, you welcome them into your house. You let them in. You let them in. And so they can cross the threshold and they can get in and they can start attacking you. It's the same concept. I know that's a little weird. I'm into vampire movies clearly, but it's that same concept. When someone is outside of your life and they stay outside of your life, the only way they can get into your life is if you allow them to come in, if you invite them in and you let them stay. And a lot of times we end up inviting someone in because there's a part of our brains on a psychological level that feels normal with their behavior, whatever that behavior is. If they treat you like crap and you feel like, okay, well, this is how I was treated as a child, this is normal. You may not feel good on the inside, but it's normal to you. Because if you were mistreated as a child and this person comes in, they treat you just like your parents treated you, or your grandparents or your uncles or whatever, then you think it's normal. You normalize that behavior, right? So you put up with a lot of things. Now, on the flip side, if somebody comes in, if you had an immaculate childhood and you had great parents and they were very self-aware and they taught you all these amazing things and you had a great childhood, and someone comes in and they treat you the same way, they worship you, they adore you, they respect you, they care about you, the relationship is reciprocal. You respect them, they respect you. If you're accustomed to that as in your childhood and they come in and they treat you like that, well, that's your normal. You wouldn't accept anything less because it's your normal, it's your standard. What I'm trying to say is that the only way that you can understand all of this, all these dynamics of who you allow into your life, who you don't allow into your life, the reason why. Oh, welcome. Thank you, Girl 6. Thank you. I'm so glad that you were able to join. But the reason why is because this is your normal. It comes from your childhood. And therefore, for you, it has been normalized. So when you go through a divorce and you're able to reflect and you're able to see it as a bridge of incidents to get you to the true gift, with the true gift, which is deep self-reflection, going deep on what your trauma is and getting the help that you need. That's truly the gift. The gift is clearly not the divorce. The gift is clearly not being, put in a violent situation or dangerous situation or breaking up the family or any of that, right? The gift is what lies on the other side, which is healing, if you allow yourself to heal. But the only way to get there, the only way to receive that gift, the only way to get on that path to creating a life that you really love, you have to, right after your divorce, you have to take that time to start digging deep and asking yourself, how did I get here? How did I allow that person into my life? And who do I have to become to make sure that never happens again? Who do I need to be? Because every person I interact with is just a part of me pushed out. It's just a reflection, mere reflection of a piece of me, because they reflect my values. They reflect my beliefs. They reflect what was normal in my childhood. They might reflect your trauma. What do I have to do to change that? That's where the gift begins. When you're in that space asking those questions, because the moment that you ask, it is given. The answers will start to come. You will be led. I call them bridges of incidents. You will be led to these bridges that will take you to the places you need to go to get those answers. Sometimes the places you need to go as a therapist. Sometimes the places you need to go is rehab. Sometimes the places that you need to go is back to your family. You have to get to the root, right? Sometimes you have to go back and you have to unravel these things, not because of them, but because of you, to find peace within you so that you can move forward. So a lot of women that I have worked with, that I've coached in the past, they find themselves in this situation after they've gotten divorced, asking themselves that question. And that's how they usually end up with me going through the coaching program, because they're like, I don't know what is going on. I got divorced, which I'm thankful for. I'm thankful to be out of that situation, but I feel stuck. And I want to move forward. I want to have a better life, but I don't quite know how to get there. And the first thing we have to do is not necessarily go all the way back. I'm not a therapist, but I have to ask them questions like, well, what led you to your divorce? Why were you with that person? Because it's about them creating a new identity. But in order for them to create a new identity, they have to at least know who they are in this identity, and then start deciding, am I going to stay this person that I was, that allowed myself to be in that relationship with that person, that did not heal my childhood trauma? Or am I going to have a new identity? Am I going to move forward, right? So it starts from there. So if you have gone through a divorce and you're in that stage, just know it is a gift, because that is the beginning of you having that platform that you need, that firm structure to build the new life. Being able to throw out all the trash, all the childhood trauma, all the crazy relationships, the crazy friendships, being able to get to the root and say, I'm done. And heal yourself, and really, truly heal, and start building a foundation that you can stand on. That is the beginning, and that's the gift. That's the gift. When you get to that place, let me tell you, when you get to that place of knowingness, of certainty of yourself, of who you are now, who you're working towards, the life that you're going to lead, it is so easy to forgive. It is so easy to say, I wish you the best. I don't want to be in your life. I don't want to have anything to do with you, but I wish you the best. Have a good life and go on, because you know where you're going. You know the joy that you're stepping into, the peace, the comfort, the love. That's really what it's all about. So, and here's the other thing. You will start noticing that the people you attract are completely different. When you start to heal, the people that are in your life, the people that you call friends, the people that you call colleagues, the people that you call associates, the people that you date or whoever, they're completely different because you're different. You're attracting different because you've changed. The world hasn't changed. The air hasn't changed. The sky hasn't changed. You've changed. So the people that want to be around you are different. The people that you're willing to tolerate are different. The people you call friends are different. Even family approach you different. Now, you don't change your family, right? But even your family members don't approach you the same way because you're different. You're a different person. You have different beliefs. You have different values. You have different standards. You have a different conversation. Your boundaries have changed. You even might look different. You might lose weight. You might go on a vacation to Europe or somewhere, or Africa or India, and they're like, oh, where's she going? Oh, okay, we're doing something different. Oh, her hair has changed. You become a different person, not just internally. It starts internally, but you'll notice it projects out to your real 3D environment. And people notice. And you don't have to say anything. All you have to do is live your life according to your values and your standards and your new identity, and people will see it. So I wanted to do this. I know it's running long, but this is a live, right? This is what it's all about. I'm going to check and see if there's any questions. I saw some comments. Thank you all for joining, who have been watching. Thank you all who are going to watch, who are going to go through the replay. I'm going to try to do more of these. I really like doing the lives, but I have to get used to it. I'm doing it on my phone. I'm looking at my computer. I think I'm going to do it on my computer next time so it can look a little bit better. So I have to get used to this. It's a little bit wonky. I'm so used to doing a regular, like, pre-recorded video and edit it, right? So I will be doing more lives. Definitely feel free to, whether it's here in the comments, whether you message me, private message me, or you're on my Facebook page, my Facebook group, let me know if you want me to do more lives and what you want me to talk about, whether it's a live video or pre-recorded. I try to be mindful to keep them short. But yeah, I want to try to do more of these, especially in the new year, and see how it goes. I hope you all have a wonderful night. I hope you were able to get something out of this live recording and really look at yourself and start asking yourself the questions after your divorce. What does this mean for me? Who do I need to become? What is the gift that I can glean out of this? And I know it's painful when you're going through a divorce and right after, but if you can just take the time to really give yourself that space and that time alone to start asking yourself those questions and start thinking through who you are, who you want to be, why you were led to that person, what you learned from that person, because, right, it wasn't all bad, right? What it was that relationship taught you, trust me when I say, you will be a better person for it. You'll be a happier person for it. And you'll look back years later and say, you know what? That was the greatest gift that I could have ever received. Because if I hadn't gone through that marriage or that person, I couldn't be the person that I am living the amazing life that I'm living, right? You'll be able to say that, but you have got to do the work. You have got to be willing to do the deep dive work for yourself to really receive the gift after a divorce. All right. I'm so glad you are all able to join. Thank you all who joined to watch. Thank you all for those who are watching on the replay. I'll be talking to you soon. I am Tiffany J. Fambro of Clarity, Confidence, Courage, women's divorce coach, helping them to create a life of joy, peace, and abundance. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.